Jim Hannes is the author of the short story collection, Why They Cried, and co-curator of adult education. He has contributed to dozens of publications, including McSweeney's, Salon, Slate, and the New York Post, which republished his 2008 adult ed talk, You Are Not Going to Be Famous. You can find him online at jimhannes.com. Please welcome Jim Hannes.
Thanks everybody for coming. I'm afraid that I've picked a subject that's not as important as Andrew Green, yet not as hilarious as William Moulton Marston. Well, we'll see how it goes. If I were to ask you today, what's your favorite ad of all time, I have a pretty good idea what you would pick. You might pick the Was Up Guys, or you might pick Apple's famous 1984 ad. I use that for Park Slope because I know you're going, oh, I hate advertising, except for Apple advertising. Or you might pick the... or you might pick the Shake Weight. But if you ask us in the 1940s, early 50s, you might have answered this ad from 1923, which is known in the business by its headline, Somewhere West of Laramie. Seems kind of quaint now, but this ad was a watershed for lots of reasons. A woman is driving the car, the Jordan Playboy, and she's racing a stylized cowboy. And then there's this wild jazz-age copy, which sounds like it was written in a speakeasy with a flapper sitting on the author's knee. Let me read it to you. Somewhere west of Laramie, there's a bronco-busting, steer-roping girl who knows what I'm talking about. She can tell what a sassy pony that's a cross between greased lightning and the place where it's hits can do with 1,100 pounds of steel and action when he's going high, wide, and handsome. That's right. The truth is, the Playboy was built for her. Built for the lass whose face is brown with the sun when the day is done of revel and romp and race. Yeah, I know. She loves the cross of the wild and the tame. There's a savor of lynx about that car, of laughter and lilt and light, a hint of old loves and saddle and quirt. I don't know what quirt is. It's a brawny thing, yet a graceful thing for the sweep of the avenue. Step into the Playboy when the hour grows dull with things gone dead and stale. Then start for the land of real living with the spirit of a lass who rides lean and rangy into the red horizon of a Wyoming twilight. It's hot, right? As a culture, we periodically become obsessed with the ad man. There was Darren Stevens, of course. There were 30-somethings, Michael and Elliot. I don't know which of these are Michael and Elliot. And, of course, the almost shaman-like Don Draper. For some reason, the ranking of how dramatic we think careers are goes something like this. Cop, forensic medical examiner, psychic cop, and advertising executive. Now I can speculate all night about why advertising executive is on this list at all. Whether it's because it is the only straight job with even a glimmer of interest, and therefore screen presence in it. And I suspect this is the case for Bewitched and 30-something. Or whether it's because we are comforted by the idea that our conspicuous consumption is somehow beyond our control, dictated to us from without by mysterious Svengali like Don Draper. After covering the advertising business for more than a decade, I can tell you advertising is much closer to Durwood's world than to Draper's. And today it is populated, like most modern businesses, by tattooed young people who hate their jobs. Occasionally, of course, there have been larger-than-life figures. And Ned Jordan, the author of Somewhere West of Laramie, was such a figure, primarily because he didn't just write like this in ads. He wrote like this all the time. In advertising, the copy doesn't scan like verse. He wrote in his autobiography, which is improbably but typically called The Inside Story of Adam and Eve. It's totally true. I own a signed copy. It must have that intangible something that balances in the sensitive scale of the writer's mind. It swings this way, rest, and swings like that. No ordinary reader can tell what it does to him, but it doesn't. Much of Jordan's writing does it too, and it's even rumored that F. Scott Fitzgerald borrowed the company's name for the last name of Jordan Baker, his own bronco-busting, steer-roping girl in The Great Gatsby. Jordan founded his company in Cleveland after working for years for Nash, and he was from Wisconsin, where he had once scored an interview with Theodore Roosevelt by barging into the president's train car. But he himself told the story of his greatest success, the Playboy and its advertising, in the 1952 Rhapsody and Advertising Age. Hold on tight. Walking the floor one dreary Saturday afternoon, waiting for good old Slew-Fit Barger, our Toledo dealer, to come in with a check for 2 cars to drive back home, he appeared and we met our meager payroll. Dancing that night at the Mayfield Country Club with Eleanor Barton, age 17, a fine outdoor girl who could play any position on any guy's team. Mr. Jordan, why don't you build a car for the girl who loves to swim and paddle and shoot, and for the boy who loves the roar of the cutout? Thanks, nice girl, for $1 million idea. Eat your heart out, Robert Evans. But it continues. Next day, New York, in Harry Harrington's Packard Custom Body Shop, a swanky roadster designed for Flo Ziegfeld as a gift for his wife, Billy Burke. Sketch the job and outline on an envelope. Get to Buffalo, where it can be bumped out of aluminum on inexpensive wooden dies. Ship it to Cleveland. Hide it in the warehouse. Keep your mouth shut. Next, I wrote one advertisement for the Saturday Evening Post. It went like this. We might as well tell it. The secret will soon be out. It's a wonderful companion for a wonderful girl and a wonderful boy. How did we happen to think of it? Why, a girl who loves to swim and paddle and shoot described it to a boy who loves the roar of the cutout, which I don't know what a cutout is. So we built one just for the love of doing it and stepped on it, and the chickens ran and the dogs barked. It's a shame to call the Playboy a roadster, so full is this brawny thing of the vigor of boyhood and morning. That is a car. Of course, this was not the last ad for Playboy, a name he took from the John Synge play The Playboy of the Western World, but obviously helped popularize it well beyond that context. Instead, his ads became increasingly beautiful, sly, and even bawdy. Here are 2 ads with great headlines. For one on the left says, "Pay off the grinning caddy." And the other says, "I think she came from a land of fire." Both suggestive of the loosening morals of the lost generation. And sometimes he even went too far. This ad famously drew the attention of the New York Society for the Suppression of Vice. It shows a parked car, as you can see, and the headline, "The Middle of the Night." The copy reads, "After the dance, when tiresome chaperones have gone to bed, and youth will have its fling, let's wander away down the moonlit ribbon of a magic road, onto the alluring romance of the silvering snows, radiant under the sapphire stars. You simply can't live always, and one night like this, well, it's the Jordan Victoria that is shown." The society responded, "The automobile, like most other things, has its uses and its abuses. And one of the abuses commonly attributed to it is the private petting party." Yes. Far removed from any... Oh, I actually have a picture of this letter. I forgot. Here's the letter. The private petting party, far removed from any restraining influence or observation. The inducement held out in your advertisement is that this particular closed car can be used in the middle of the night, away from observation of tiresome chaperones by youth after the dance. I don't think Jordan was too surprised surprised by this implication. To a previous complaint, he had responded, "We regret exceedingly that our advertisement has offended your high moral sense. It is evident that we must exercise closer supervision over our art department." But it really is all about Laramie, and this is a later, kind of more beautiful version of the ad, which lives on in almost every auto ad you see. I mean, these places, you always see ads. They're on the top of a mountain. They're in this place that is really not a place at all. And, where are these winding roads and precipitous cliffs that are always showing cars off to their best advantage? I like to think that they're in an America that Ned Jordan invented somewhere west of Laramie. Jordan continues in his 1952 account of his most famous ad. Then followed a deluge of letters from women all over America. The best was from a girl in West Park, Ohio, who wrote, "Dear Mr. Jordan, I do not want a position with your company. I just want to meet the man who wrote that advertisement. I am 23 years of age, a brunette, weight 120 pounds, and my wings are spread. All you've got to do is say the word and I'll fly to you." Now I might safely answer the question which has been asked 1,000 times, Jordan continues. Did you? My answer was no, because there were only 24 hours between sunset and sunset. But now, I might. Thanks.